Estamos. Hello, guys, and welcome back. If this is your first time, I hope you'll stay. Espero que te quedes. So I asked about a week or two ago about what you guys really wanted to see, and one of the requested videos was this, what to expect at A-level. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. And before I start, I want to say well done. So massive well done to all those people who did so well on their GCSE exam. And for those who are going to continue next year with A-levels. It is such a small community. And so well done, future linguists. And yeah, it will be fine. But yeah, let's get into some of the things that you're going to face, and hopefully with this video you will go in a little bit more prepared. Okay, so the first point I'll have to say is that obviously you're a little bit older this year, you're a little bit wiser, and hopefully a little bit more confident when it comes to talking and communicating with your teachers, which at A-level I believe is key. Okay, you need to make the most of the fact that your class sizes are smaller, so it's a little bit more intimate. You can take this chance to build a closer relationship with your teachers. So doubts that you may have, worries that you might have, anything at all, just let your teacher know so that you're on the same page and you don't feel overwhelmed because you're lost at any point. Okay, so communication with your teacher, I feel as though is the first key thing that you ought to be doing coming up next year. Right, if you see I keep looking down, it's because I've made some notes because I don't want to jump past and miss any of the points. So, right, second point is if you have anyone at all who has done GCSE Spanish and then went on to do A-level Spanish, well, you'll have them as reference. With me personally, I had an older sister, and I also had a friend who was just a whiz. Okay, Tisam. She was older than me, and so obviously I went to her for advice about what to expect. So if you have a sister or a brother, an older sibling who's done that, use them. Okay, ask them what it was like for them. Maybe it may be a neighbor, it may be a friend or a sibling of a friend of yours. So look for those people who've gone through the experience and talk to them about what they found difficult and advice that they can give you. Because really and truly, a teacher's perspective is always going to be a little bit different from a student's own perspective. So if you know someone who did it last year or the year before, make it a point to go and talk to them and see what it was like for them. I'm sure you'll find it really incentive, okay? Really insightful, rather. Okay? Right. I'm not going to lie to you. One of the biggest difference you will notice is the workload. It's a massive step from GCSE to A-level. You will notice the workload because it's a lot more in terms of content, vocabulary, and what's expected of you really in the exam. You have to write more, so you have to think about writing essays. You would have had to, by the end of your 2 years, obviously you will have to have a good level of Spanish, so quite fluent. I'm not saying fluent because I wasn't at the end of A-level, to be honest, but you will have to show that you've taken, you'd have to show the progress. So it's not like going from year 9 to 10, that sort of thing. It's bigger because there's a lot more you'll have to understand. So comprehension will be more, require more, which means that you will have to read more in your spare time. Okay, you have to prepare a lot more. So what I would do is before September, go through the specification and look through it. Okay. So you have to research a little bit more and take these months, bit of a month, these 6 weeks, to read more in Spanish. Okay, do make the most of the internet. If you don't have any books, download articles to get reading and to improve your vocabulary and such. Right. When you get to the higher level as well, you have to remember that you will get free periods, but don't think for 1 minute that those free periods are free of work, just free for you to go around and hang around with your friends. No. Especially in languages, you really do need to make sure that you are planning wisely. So I would get a planner. Okay, if I was you, I'd get a planner. And for the free periods, I would put what I hope to improve, okay, and work on those areas in my free period. So if it's reading or vocabulary, you allocate those times for that, okay? And yeah, just be wise about it, okay? You think about where your strong areas are and where your weaknesses lie, and you need to learn how to be independent learners, okay? So you're going to have to do that part on your own and say to yourself, well, I know I'm strong here, but I know I need to improve here, here, and here, and here. So this is what I'm going to do. And I have all this free time here, here, and here. So in this time, I'm going to do an hour of reading and translating. Or I'm going to do an hour of writing or listening. For me, listening was the worst. It was so hard for me. So I did spend a lot of time doing listening activities. Do that. But you have to identify for yourself where you need to work, where you need to improve. Okay, so I'm not saying, I'm not trying to scare you at all, but obviously this is something that you need to make sure you're doing, making the most of your time. Okay, right. As I mentioned before, you do need to have a high level by the end of the year, next year, and especially if you're going to do A2 Spanish. So you do need to put the time in. It's not like other subjects where you can blag it a little bit and, no. You need to raise the bar, okay? So the most important point for that one was putting in the hours. It's so necessary. And obviously you can do that in different ways, whether it is watching series, whether it's reading your books, whether it's writing essays and handing them in to be marked. Those people who've been with the channel for a while know that I don't have a lot of time, but when I do have time, I will correct stuff. Okay, obviously if I get 100 things to correct, I can't do that because I just don't have the manpower. But now and again, I will help as well. Right. You would have been told, I don't know how much you know about advanced Spanish, but as I said, you will need to write a little bit more, and you'll need to write, I think, about a film or a book. So start practicing this summer. Okay, use this summer to start practicing, read a book or watch a movie, and try and see if you can do that. Do a review even, which is easier. Look at your vocabulary, okay? Partner up with someone who is going to also be doing it next year with you. Have conversations, okay? Practice with them. Because I think speaking is very important, and sometimes we do tend to neglect it a little bit. Right. Right, okay, I haven't finished that point actually. So where can you go? So I've suggested flashcards, which are always very handy for everyone. I don't know if you've heard of the app, Duolingo. If you haven't, try and check that out. It's really good. Mesmerize as well is very, very helpful for flashcards and such. Quizlet is also very good. So Duolingo, Mesmerize, Quizlet, and Spanish podcast, for the love of God. Yes, You're going to find these really, really helpful for your listening. So do try to do that if you can. There's also a Spanish podcast 101. If you have a chance, look to that as well. And obviously you need a good Spanish dictionary. Word reference, in word reference, is it word reference? It's not word, is it word reference? I'm not quite sure. But look, ask your teacher which one she recommends. And word reference is quite good as well. Okay. Other learning apps, there's Speechling as well. There's just so many. You just have to try out some of them and see which one you get on with the best. Okay. What I like about Speechling is that it has real conversations, right? And you will find this quite helpful. Babbel is also really nice. I almost forgot Babbel. Yeah, but that's very good. And the website Cervantes, Instituto Cervantes, there's just so many. I could go on and on and on. But as I said, it's going to be up to you to go through a lot of them and see which one you like the best, okay? Songs are also really, really helpful. I'm going to name a few singers that I liked and that obviously some of them were known back when I was at school. So old people like Enrique Iglesias. Obviously I mentioned this because I loved him. Ricky Martin, Shakira, Malú. Malú is from Spain and I like her. So Fonsi, you choose someone, look for Spanish singers, use music, use songs. That would be really good for your improving your listening skills as well and vocab. Okay, reading books. Como agua para el chocolate, como el agua para el chocolate. That's by Laura Esquivel. Okay, Laura Esquivel. So that's I don't think it's excessively hard. Don't choose a book that's going to be exceedingly advanced, because I remember I chose 100 años de soledad, 100 years of solitude by Marquez Garcia, and that was so hard and I didn't understand any of it. So I mean, he has other stuff, Garcia Marquez, okay? Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He was Colombian, I think. Check out lots of people, okay, and see what you get on with is basically what I'm saying. But I remember I chose 100 años de soledad and I found it really hard because I didn't acquire enough vocabulary to be reading that book. So I would read something that's a little bit more simple, that's a bit simpler in vocab. Okay, right, so saying that, I would start with articles rather than a book this summer. Okay, yeah. You could look for things like an autobiography of someone. So La Vida de Frida Kahlo, or whoever you're interested in. Look for La Vida de such and such a person. Look for an article and start with that. That's what I recommend. El País is a Spanish newspaper. You can find that online. Do that. Right. Next point, 7. The mimic method to improve your pronunciation. I will try and do that this summer. Okay, lots of repetition, finding someone I like and trying to imitate the way they talk. Okay, right. The internet is great, but if you can get a physical book with you, that's also another tip that I recommend. Okay, recording things onto your MP4 or whatever listening device you have, on your phone or wherever it might be, so you can have that round with you. Okay, so whether it's stories, whether it's dialogues, I still have really old dialogues in my car on my MP3 player that I recorded years ago in German, and it comes up now and again. So I mean, I found that really helpful when I was doing my exams. Try that. So it's more natural. So you go for a jog, you have that. Do that this summer. And lastly, you have to be going into this new year with a lot of enthusiasm. Okay, don't go in thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so hard, I don't know what I'm doing. Go in with this strong, confident attitude. I'm going to do this. I'm fantastic. I did GCSE and I did really well. And this is just the next natural step. You're going to do fantastic. just going with this I can do it attitude, and you will be able to do it. Okay, remember, mind over everything. Okay, if you think you can do it, you will be able to do it. Okay, so this summer, read articles, find series that you like, read as much as you can, and go over your conjugations of your verbs, because you will need it a lot this year. Okay, and perhaps you won't spend as much time as you think on that. So start now. Okay, I hope you found this useful, and I hope I really didn't forget anything in this one. But you know me, I've always said talking too fast, and sometimes I do forget stuff. So yeah, good luck, and I am so glad that you've chosen to do A-level Spanish. We don't do it enough in England, and I think it's something we need to change. So, feliz verano, y espero que no tengáis miedo. Si hay algo que necesitáis, estoy aquí. And if you haven't already subscribed, guys, please do that down below, and I will see you soon. Feliz verano! Adios!